Hello, on this video, I'm gonna use Visual Studio to create a project in C Sharp, and also I'm gonna show you around a little bit of Visual Studio. When you first open Visual Studio, you should have a screen similar to this one. So I'm gonna click on Create a New Project, and then Console Application. Click on Next. Give it a name, any name you want. Click on Next, and then click on Create. So Visual Studio created this project for me. This is the new default. So if you don't see the using system or the class or the static void main, that's because it's using the new default. Now those are still there, however, it's just hidden. And if you want to see the old default, just click on this wrench and then convert program, and then you see the old default. I'm gonna click on the light bulb and go back to the new default. So here is where I write the program. So this window here is called the code editor. That's your central location, and that's where you write code. This here is your solution explorer. This location is where you see all the files, all the settings, and everything else that comes with your project and also your solution. So here you have one solution and one project, but you might have more than one project inside your solution. So when Visual Studio creates the solution for you, it creates the solution, it creates the projects, and it creates a series of files that are used for settings or for libraries or for a myriad of reasons. So there's a lot of files right here. Do not change any of those files if you're a beginner. The only file that you're going to be changing here as a beginner is the .cs file, which is your program.cs file. So in case your Solution Explorer is not here, go to View and then click on Solution Explorer, and then your Solution Explorer will be here. Now you can pin this or you can unpin this, but either way, this is your Solution Explorer. Right here in the bottom, you have your Outputs window. So the output is where you see problems and other things that might be relevant to your program. It shows also console output and error. So let's say if I have an error here somewhere, so I'm gonna purposely make a error right here on this code. And then obviously it has a squiggly line, a red squiggly line, and this red squiggly line means there's an error. And if you try to run this, it will not let you run because it has a problem, and it will show you right here on the output window under error list that has a problem here. So the problem here says it doesn't have a definition of this function because this function does not exist. So if I put it back, save, and try to run again, then this time it runs just fine. So to run this program, you're gonna go to debug and start without debugging. Later, I'm gonna show you how to start debugging. That's another option as well. A little bit more complicated, but it shows you more information in case you're looking for an error in your program. But for now, just use start without debugging. So when you click here or Ctrl F5, I prefer Ctrl F5 just because it's a little faster. But either way, it runs your program and it shows you what you're trying to do. In my case, it just prints the phrase hello world because that's exactly what I'm doing here. So this function sends anything you have here to the console and displays that for you. All right, so if you write a series of commands, regardless of what those are, the program is going to execute those just as fine. Now, you can, if you want to, ignore a certain line. So let's say I want to ignore this line here. I'm gonna put here the letters A, B, C, D, and let's say I want to ignore line C. So if I want to ignore line C, I'm just gonna put 2// and the 2// means anything to the right of this / gets ignored. So line number 4 stays there, but line number 3 gets ignored. So if I run this program, then I get A, B, D, and line C got ignored. So if I want to ignore line number 1, I can do the same thing, ignores line number 1 as well. So it leaves me with B and D. Now, you can ignore if you want to multiple lines. And in order to do that, you're going to do a / and then star. However, if you do that, you need to put the ending point of that. So if I put a star and /, that means anything in between these two gets ignored by the compiler. So line number 1 gets ignored. And if I want to ignore multiple lines, I can just move the star / to whatever I want to end. So in this case, lines 1, 2, and 3 gets ignored. So if I run this program, only line number 4 gets executed. So this is how you add comments to your code. Now, why comments are important? They're important because every program that you write should have a top statement saying what this program is doing. So in my case here, I'm just going to say here, this program is for testing and learning about C# projects. In other words, if someone comes here after me and reads this code, only by reading the top line, they know what this entire file is about. So always have a top comment saying what you're doing with the code. And the last thing I want to tell you is about the IntelliSense or code autocomplete. Now, whenever you start typing something, Visual Studio tries to guess what you're trying to do and then gives you a bunch of options. So, and the more you use it, the better Visual Studio gets on guessing what you're trying to do. So in my case, I start writing console and then Visual Studio automatically highlighted the console here. So I'm just gonna type the key Tab on my keyboard and then it types for me the console. And then I haven't touched anything else on the keyboard. It's already trying to guess that I want to do a write line. So I'm gonna press Tab again and then it writes the code for me. And then after that, I start typing something else as well. And then I can finally finish my code. So IntelliSense is a great way for you to type the least amount possible. Just take advantage of the IntelliSense as much as you can. All right, so that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.